Hey, I'm Ansel Burch.
I'm Tori Brewton.
I'm Hannah Lane.
And it's
Time to party!
We are not doctors. We don't give medical advice. Please drink responsibly. Today's episode was recorded on December 15th, 2025. Here we are, friends, in the home stretch for our coverage of the 2016 film, Your Name.
My name?
Your Name. Mine, everybody's
My name.
It's a very open, it's for you, whoever you are. This was a fantastic film. We've been covering it all month. If you came straight to the third episode because you love edutainment, don't you worry. I got something good for you. But we are changing things up a little bit this month with a new format. So our guests get 5 minutes to talk about whatever the hell they want. And then I get 5 minutes to do my little deep dive, my little shallow dive into something from the movie. So we're opening things up a little bit this rest of the season. And it's gonna be a good time. The idea was to help our guests have a little bit less homework to do in preparation for our show. We're already stealing the length of a movie from them. We may as well give them a little bit of their time back. So let us go ahead and jump on in. Once again, we have the incredible Hannah and Tori from the Total Saps podcast joining us. Say hi, Hannah and Tori.
Hi, Hannah and Tori.
There it is. I knew one of you would get it.
Wow.
Total Saps is a great podcast. I should know. I listened to it live, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Even if you haven't watched the movies yet, it's good listen. And if you have watched the movies, it's even better. So go ahead and check them out.
That's nice to say.
Yeah. Several of the movies that they've covered, I have then had to go watch because they sounded so cool. So,
which ones?
Before Sunrise and Roman Holiday, for sure.
Oh, wait, you finally watched Roman Holiday?
Of course I did.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later.
Did you like it?
Yeah, of course
Okay.
I liked it. You'd have to be dead not to like Roman Holiday.
What did you think about Before Sunrise?
I liked it.
Do you want to watch the other ones?
I am interested to see the other ones. Yeah. I'm not like bursting at the seams to watch them, but I would absolutely watch them.
All right, cool.
But yeah, so we're going to spend this episode talking about what you guys want to talk about, potentially the podcast. Tori, I know you've got something in the chamber.
Yeah, you said 5 minutes to talk about whatever you want. This was just on my spirit today, Ansel. The lack of authentic bagel shops in the city of Chicago. I know that they exist. However, the size of this city, there need to be more. Why are there only... I'm going to be generous, and part of this number is because some people have multiple locations, okay? I'm going to say there are maybe 10 good bagel shops in the entire city, and that is just not enough. And I don't know if it's just because this is like the Midwest and people are not as obsessed with bagels as other people. I don't really know. I honestly, maybe that is what it is, because I guess when I think back to like my childhood, the only reason I know what a bagel is because my mother's from New Jersey. But like, my God, it's 2025. We have everything, and we can't get enough good bagel shops to the point where you are going, depending on where you live, unless you want to go all over town, right? You're going to one of, let's say, 3 options that are not like terribly far away from you at any given spot in this city, okay? And depending on where you are, it could be none, okay? But I digress. Okay. So you are like, oh, it's Saturday morning. I want to go get a bagel. Let me go walk to my neighborhood bagel place. First of all, you don't have one because you live in insert any number of neighborhoods that there's not a real bagel shop. Okay. When I say authentic bagel, I mean it is boiled and then it is baked.
As it should
Okay?
be. As God intended.
That is a bagel. Ugh. And it's just ridiculous that, you go to maybe one of 3 options that you have in your immediate area, and that's not enough for the amount of people that want bagels on a Saturday morning.
It is not.
It's not. You get in line, it's like 9 a.m., shit's sold out.
Mm-hmm.
And this happens all the time. Okay, I've switched my allegiance to a different bagel shop, but I have, I had a spot that I went to. It's like, if you don't get there between the hours of 7 a.m. and 8:30, you're not going to have the pick of the litter, okay? As they say. You're not going to. It's just going to be sesame seed. That's it. I don't want a sesame seed bagel. That's not what I came here for. Why didn't you guys make enough everything bagels? You know that's what everyone wants. Okay. So that, I don't know how many minutes we're at, Ansel, and maybe we should have been keeping track.
I might be.
That came out as more of a rant than talk about whatever you want. And it really wasn't educational. It was
It doesn't need to be educational. So what are you looking for in a bagel shop, and where have you found it?
I am looking for an authentic bagel.
Mm-hmm. So boiled and baked.
It's actually, yes, boiled and baked, and it's actually made correctly. So the dough itself, or the outside, is like a little hard, a little crunch, a little tiny crunch, and then when you open it up, it's nice and chewy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And another thing, you don't need to toast a fresh bagel. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. You open it and you put the cream cheese on. There's no toasting involved when the bagel is fresh and authentic.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to get that off my chest.
I have committed crimes.
I'm sure. Of course you have.
So who is your bagelery of choice?
No, I can't get into that. That's going to cause controversies, And I also don't want you bitches in my spot because there's already too many of you.
Okay.
I'm gatekeeping.
That's all right. They can come to my spot.
There's not enough. No. Which is what?
Steingolds.
Oh, please. Well, okay, but that
I cannot be a neutral party in this because I currently work at a bagel shop. You are currently
slinging bagels, yeah.
True. And that's probably why I've been thinking about bagels so much. Although, honestly, like, I'm a bagel person. I've been thinking about it a long time. That's one of my qualms with this city. It's just not enough. So I'm not going to tell you where I go.
What is your relationship to bagels? What makes you so passionate about bagels?
I don't know. I've been eating them since I was little. My mom would get the not real kind because the real kind were not available to us in the suburbs.
I grew up on the 6 to a sleeve bagel.
Right. Oh, well, she wouldn't do that. She wouldn't do a Lender's, okay?
Oh, okay.
She would only do the ones that they baked at Meyer. So you would have to get them in the like containers that had like the bagel or
the big bin,
donuts and stuff. Yeah. So no, Shirley Bruton would not do a Lender's. Okay. No. Anyways, those weren't authentic either, but I'll tell you what is delicious is a Lender's or non-authentic bagel, onion bagel, excuse me. Those that is the one. Lather it in butter, put it under the broiler, get it toasty, and then put cream cheese on top or more butter. Depends on how you're feeling. I don't know. It's delicious. So I'm not like completely hating on fake bagels, but it does plague this city. It plagues the world, really, fake bagels. But in a city as big as Chicago, it's just ludicrous that like you can't, that every, like, what is this? And maybe it is just a regional thing. And like, I'm just asking too much of my Midwestern city. And that's probably it. But
yeah. Here's the thing. I can't be unbiased in this discussion. But I will just say, I have heard that Zach makes a good bagel, and they are found at a lot of farmers markets, but they also have a flagship store in Chicago that's very recent. So maybe that could be a good bagel spot
there you go.
in the future.
Send people to that
It's
spot so they
true.
don't blow up Tori's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unfortunately, she's just outed the new spot, which
Oh no!
hello, bitch. What? Here's the thing, Ansel. Have you been there yet?
I have not. I've had it brought to me by Hannah.
It's actually
I can attest to its quality.
Wait, I can't remember what she. Listen,
I brought you the jardinera. You brought jardinera focaccia.
The bagels are actually excellent,
Okay.
And
you know what, Ansel? Can you bleep out the names?
Yeah. What? Come on, Hannah.
Out.
I thought you said we were.
I can bleep it out.
Seriously though, that is where I've switched my allegiance to. I used to get them at RNA Sourdough. So let me blow up their spot for a second. Go ahead, flood them. I don't care. I don't go there anymore.
I got something better. Would you like the second best bagel that Tori's had?
Just you know what? Just bleep out after the first syllable.
But here's the thing: Steingold's is good, but Zeitlin's is better.
Okay.
Like the bagel quality, and I just assume it's probably because whatever. You know what?
I mean, Steingold's is making like production level.
That's what I'm saying, and that's where you lose it. That's where you lose it.
Yeah, so I could see that.
That's why we need more of the shops. I don't want fucking 6 locations. Why is there a Steingold's in Humboldt Park?
That's where they're making them.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, let me get my own bagel shop. Let someone else open up. We don't need 50 of the same thing.
I think it's because they learned that if you make one bakery, you can have many bakeries for the price of one bakery.
Now, let me say, an Einstein's Brother bagel leaves a lot to be desired because it's a fake bagel.
It is so incredibly salty.
It's just bad. And me and Hannah used to work together, and when I first started, they hadn't cut the budgets yet. Okay, so we used to have Bagel Fridays, and they used to get this good spot. I'm gonna say good. It's not the best, but what is it called? The place that the people that own Peace Pizza, Bro Bagel.
Oh, yeah.
They do a good chew. They do a good chew, but it is quite chewy. It's a little bit. It's
too far.
It's like almost borderline. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm gonna break my jaw sometimes. They have good cream cheeses, though, I will say. Anyways, we used to have Bagel Friday, and that was great. And then we got the budget cuts happening, and that's when we started seeing the Einstein Bros, and that was just tough times.
Mm-hmm.
Tough times.
And then they sacked both of us.
Yeah, and then they really ran out of money and said, "Okay, time to go."
And then the fall.
And here we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that was enlightening, Tori. I'm glad you got to get a little bit of a bagel off your chest, and the place that shall not be named. I'm glad it's filling that niche for you.
It really is, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We also are making souf gagnon until the end of Hanukkah, which is donuts.
Oh, okay.
I might have to go get some of that.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Do you want to go next?
Here's my thought. Do you want to go? Here's the bigger question, Ansel. Do you want to go last? Is that what your thought is?
I'm not fussed either way, but I could go last.
No, hold on.
I'm still deciding what I'm going to talk about.
Then I'll go next.
You know I can talk about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Now I just googled souf gagnon. This ain't nothing but a punch.
Souf gagnon.
This ain't nothing but a punch. Look at this.
Oh, we're also going to make them again in. Where do you think fucking ponchkis came from?
Bro, I know. I'm just. Weren't we talking about at the very beginning of this that like we all have the same? All these cultures have the exact same food.
Yeah, we will be bringing it back and calling them ponchkis in ponchki season. But they're souf gagnon.
Right. Right. It's not right to laugh like
Well,
that,
and
Ansel.
actually, I say we, but hopefully by the time this comes out, I will not be
You will be
working there.
a casual appreciator of.
Yeah, I will be able to actually pay full price for them instead of taking from the donations.
Well, I wanted to talk today in my little bit of edutainment about something that featured pretty heavily in the film, which was calligraphy. So one of the big things that we keep doing is writing on our hands. We're writing on our phones. Of course, the phone writing is not calligraphy, but it is the characters are emulating those that are painted with a brush. And calligraphy goes way back into the murky depths of prehistory. But we know that at least in countries that are using calligraphy still to this day, a lot of it starts in China. So the tradition largely is originally from Shodo, which is the Chinese calligraphy style that goes back to the Tang Dynasty. Although the calligraphy that we saw in the movie is so modern that it would be unrecognizable to someone from the early days of calligraphy. They've changed it over and over the different dynasties that ruled Japan, and then over Japan's various historical ruling periods, they've changed their calligraphy a great deal. Shodo is the most popular contemporary calligraphy style, and it's taught to elementary and junior high students. So that's what we would have been seeing in the movie, is the language lesson that they're learning was probably related to Shodo. The thing that I wanted to talk about the most is the tools that they use. I learned calligraphy using a fountain pen because I'm a very Western boy, but the thing that I have never been able to get the hang of is brush calligraphy. So it fascinates me endlessly. I love brush calligraphy, partly because I just can't manage it. And one of the things I learned while I was doing my research is that the brush is one of the basic tools, which are called the 4 treasures of the study. And so the 4 treasures of the study are the brush, the ink stick, which is the hardened, almost like a crayon looking thing that you rub into what's called an ink stone, the third of the basic tools. And it sort of grinds bits off of it, and then you wet that, and the resultant mixture of water and ink creates the liquid ink that you can then brush. And then the last of the 4 treasures is their mulberry paper or washi. And so, but those 4 things are sort of the heart of Japanese calligraphy, which is this just incredible art that I have loved for a long time. And so it was a wonderful opportunity just to take a shallow dive into something that I've loved looking at but haven't interrogated very closely. I learned a lot about Chinese calligraphy in college, but Japanese calligraphy has always been something that was sort of on the fringe of my understanding. And they're very similar. One is from the other. Japanese calligraphy is heavily influenced by the Chinese roots. So they're not super different, except that Japanese calligraphy diverged long enough ago, round about the 7th century. The roots go back to like the 13th century BC, but the split is really around like the 7th century. During the Nara period, or right before the Nara period, is when we get our first Japanese piece of calligraphy that lasts to today. So the first piece of Japanese calligraphy dates back to 686 AD. And that's like distinctively Japanese calligraphy as opposed to being Chinese calligraphy written with Japanese language or in a different dialect or whatever. Like it's uniquely Japanese. So that's just a brief, shallow dive. The thing that I was most interested in are the brushes, which are absolutely gorgeous. Japanese brushes are a lot broader than Chinese brushes, which I thought was really interesting. They call them fude, and they're not as pointed as the Japanese or as the Chinese brushes that I was picturing until they're like wetted and used. So the one that we're seeing in the movie when they're doing the calligraphy on their palms is clearly a worn in, ready to use brush. But when they come new, they're like very like almost like a broom in appearance. So yeah, that's our little shallow dive. I recommend that you look up some Japanese calligraphy, and I mean, even just a scroll through like the Google images, you'll see the variety of different styles. There's a lot to see that sort of changes over the various periods as they move farther and farther away from Chinese, and then sort of like correct back to something a little bit more form specific as they have to normalize. Because you'll notice that with the advent of keyboards, well, suddenly we all need to standardize again. So they go, very, very representational, and then they're kind of like just edged back and like, nope, actually we need a set standard group of characters so that we can have them come out with a keyboard, which is what we would have seen on their cell phones.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that you watch this movie and that had like Shintoism, it had space, it had beautiful scenery, and you were like, you know what? I want to research those pens.
I'm a real dork for calligraphy.
No, I think that's wonderful. Like, especially because like handwriting is such a unique way. Like handwriting for so many people is like, I mean, now it's kind of been proven to be slightly pseudoscience, but for a long time there was like handwriting studies trying to be like, oh, what does this say about the person who's writing it? And it's like identifying like traits that you can do based on how somebody is writing. And now we know it's like a little bit more brain stuff than actual personality stuff, but it's looking at how somebody writes, and especially since this movie is so much about what the essence of a person is, I think that's interesting. And I really appreciate, that's something I really like that about you, Ansel, that you are like, this is the part that I focus on.
Well, thanks. And I'm glad you talked about that, because that is one of the like tiebacks, I think, to calligraphy, at least in the philosophy of calligraphy. The Zen Buddhists use calligraphy as a metaphor for like centering yourself and like the pursuit of perfection, as with many arts in Zen Buddhism. But the philosophy of like working on something so precise and specific as a brush stroke to be perfect, when there's so many factors that go into this, especially with, as we talked about, these broad brushes with the animal hair that starts off being sort of broom-like, and then you taper it down by use and water and ink. It takes a lot of doing to start with this rough material and make it something so ephemeral. And, I firmly believe that language is the number one invention of humanity. And so to apply it to language in that way, I get it. I get why there's a philosophy around it.
Yeah.
But they talk about the way of the brush, and that's, it's a big part of Zen Buddhism.
All of the things you mentioned, the whetstone, the paper, and the things that would make a brushstroke imperfect are also things that are temperature based and humidity based. And because Tokyo and Itamori are such different environments, maybe it would be harder to have your quote unquote perfect brushstrokes in a different place if you were trained in one. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys choose what I'm going to talk about.
Dangerous.
I'm going to give you the option of Christmas, trash.
Okay. You mean Christmas
D&D,
trash movies?
Christmas, space, trash, space.
Okay.
That's number one. Go.
Christmas? Holidays?
Yeah, I want to hear what you're...
What's your take on Christmas?
Oh, wait, is trash its own thing? Trash is
Trash
not.
is its own thing. I'm giving you, I'm
so it's
giving you
Christmas,
keywords,
comma,
and you
trash.
can choose
Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting.
Christmas,
Now I want to know about
comma.
trash.
Okay,
It'll be
okay.
March, so this makes better sense too.
Oh, perfect. Tell us about trash.
Okay, well, it's actually not about trash. It's about anime, and it's about an anime called Gachiakata, and which
You
translates into
tricked
really
us.
trash. I did.
What? Okay. Go on.
So it's or Gachiakata. Basically, this is an anime, and it is created by somebody who, I mean, it's a manga first, and then it's been animated. But the mangaka, which is the word for the artist of it,
Okay.
they were basically the heir successor to another very famous anime story called Soul Eater, and they've been praised for their work. So this is a fantastical story about a boy who lives in this area called the Sphere, and it is a world similar to our own at first glance, where there's the very rich, and then there's the slums, and anything that is deemed as garbage gets immediately discarded.
Ooh.
If you rip, like for example, if you were to find a stain on your jacket, that would immediately be discarded as trash.
Oh, interesting.
And this boy has a fascination with trash and trying to restore things instead of just throwing them away. And the story actually starts to begin when they not only see items as trash, but if they see a person as being accused of a crime, they also see them as trash, and they do what they do with
Outta
all
here.
trash,
Wow.
which they throw them out of the sphere.
Whoa. Harsh.
And the story begins once he is rejected from this sphere.
Wow.
Within this
That
world,
sounds cool.
the more the story continues on, the more it is very apparent that it is about classism, eco-terrorism. There's allusions to this world being very similar to the one we are living in now, but in the future. Pollution is very prominent, but also there is this is a story all about the what you feel is, or what people discard and what they deem as unworthy of care and attention, and how that becomes affected. And it also shows how powerful care, attention, affection, desire, how powerful taking notice of people, of things can be. And it is a really interesting story that they're about to finish up their season, their first season, and it has a lot of really interesting characters. This is one of the few animes that have come out in recent years that also has multiple characters that are not just indicated to be like Japanese. There are multiple Black people that have distinguished like Black features. And when we were talking earlier about subs versus dubs, I enjoy watching the subs of this, but I enjoy rewatching the dubs because the voice actors they hire are Black people, and they are designed not just to be caricatures, but because there are more than one person, there's a lot of multifaceted. There's a lot of, each character has their own story, and each character has their own distinct voice, which oftentimes in anime and media that isn't American, America does a lot of tells a lot more stories that aren't just from one point of view than we think, in a way that isn't just reducing them to a stereotype. But I think this story, and what I've heard from my friends who also enjoy anime, is that they have a lot of really interesting perspectives for all of their characters, not just their main character. Um, they the power set is really interesting too, of how there is a lot of fights in this world, and the way that anime will typically have a fight in like a magic system. I think the way this magic system works is very interesting. But there's also genuinely like moments where the animation is incredibly beautiful. Or not just beautiful, but like cool, because there's also a graffiti artist that is credited as like co-creator on it. So there's a lot of graffiti in this world. There's a lot of great anime, and this is falling into like a style of anime that is particularly made for young men. It's called shonen, and usually it prioritizes a lot of like fights and a lot of like, I'm a boy that's going to eat the moon, and because I believe in myself, it's going to happen, right? Like that kind of like storytelling and the power of friendship. And it can become very rote, it can become very dull. But I think that this is like new and fun. And because because the writer is also, I believe they are non-binary. Um, but like they have a unique point of view, and it's a lot of like alternative subcultures, that it's not only like really visually interesting, and like not only is the story really interesting, but the visuals are also really interesting, because sometimes there'll be scenes in which there's like a really notable desaturation of color with only like a few bright visible colors. Anyway, it's just a really cool anime. Tori, I don't necessarily think it should be your first show, but if you
Okay.
but
Maybe the second
I think
one.
I think you would like it, but I
Okay.
think it's like, it is definitely something that's been on my mind a lot. And like, every week I talk to my friend about it, and I was like, are we caught up? What are we talking about? Like, and so if I can talk about anything I want at this
There you
point,
go.
that would be a good one. Also, I have really been enjoying editing and doing stuff for Total Saps. I will. What I've started to do is, after we watch a movie, I have tried to create some fan art, and I will record the process video of me drawing it and posting it. But it's been fun trying to figure out like which part of the movie speaks to me for fan art, and also editing is also fun.
Welcome. Well, that sounds like a wrap for this episode then. We got to hear about some awesome anime. We got to hear about some great bagel shops, which shall not be named, and one which can be. And we learned a little bit about calligraphy. So all told, I think this was a pretty solid, probably pretty solid little episode 3. Friends at home, let us know what you think of the new format. I think it was a lot of fun. And again, it gave our guests a chance to talk about whatever they're interested in right now, which is always a good idea. And if you would like to provide that feedback, if you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can interact with us online. I am at The Indecisionist on all the meta properties and Blue Sky. You can also check out my monthly free online gaming convention, TTRPG Pickup Con, at ttrpgpickupcon.com. It's free. It's online. What else do you want from me? Check it out. It's a good time. If you're looking for an opportunity to play some new games, meet some new people, you could do a lot worse.
Well, hi, I'm Hannah, and I would say Total Saps is what I'm going to promote today. If you really do want to see some random thoughts I've had over the years on TikTok, including Quinn Morgendorfer is absolutely a lesbian, I'm at She's Truly Outrageous on TikTok. But Total Saps, we have the website. If you want to see the fan art I draw, you can actually get a digital version of it if you pay me enough on Patreon. But I can show you the process videos on the TikToks.
I will say the fan art is cool.
It's good stuff.
It's great.
Yeah.
So check out the TikTok. I'm Tori. If you want to hear more, like, you know what? I feel like my TikToks are very like far and few between, But if I do have something to say, I will if I'm in the right mood, I'll say it on TikTok. I've got a couple of things that I've said there.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's at V Bruce, you know, you want to it's similar to the bagel rant, you know, it's always something that's like, I need to speak on this right now.
Amazing.
Yeah.
If there's more like the bagel rant, that's an endorsement to me.
Yeah, maybe I should start making more TikToks.
There you go.
But,
there you go.
Thank you for having us on, Ansel.
Of course.
Thank you for having
thank
us.
you for being here.
You know what? Thank you for being such an excellent party
thanks.
host.
Well, thanks also to April Moralba for our podcast art and to Marlon Longett of Marlon and the Shakes for our amazing theme song. This has been an Indecisionist production. If you're still on a social media platform that uses hashtags, try the hashtag Time2Party. That's time, the number 2 party. And while you're out there traveling through time 1 second per second like everybody else, remember to be excellent to each other.
Party on, dude.